Once upon a time, I dreamed of having a dog of my own. However, we lived in a rented house, and the landlord strictly forbade pets. My father tried several times to negotiate with the landlord, but it was futile. Sigh, there are always some people who are hard to talk to. The landlord claimed that other tenants didn't want to see a dog in the house. This was nonsense. I knew people living on the 3rd and 4th floors who would love to have a dog. The truth was that the landlord simply didn't like dogs. My father once said, "His problem has nothing to do with dogs. He doesn't like himself, so he doesn't want others to be happy either." One day, I carefully observed the landlord, and he really did look quite coarse. Later, when my mother brought up the subject of having a dog again, he even sent us a registered letter threatening to terminate our lease. To this day, I believe no one has the right to stop others from having dogs. From the perspective of being able to keep pets, owning a home is truly essential. After a while, my parents bought a house with a garden. I finally had my own room, and it felt wonderful, like living in paradise. But my parents weren't as happy. They always looked worried because the actual costs of buying the house exceeded their budget. Could sense that money was getting tight, so I decided to keep my wish for a dog to myself for a few weeks, even though I desperately wanted one. One morning, my mother excitedly woke me from my dreams. "Gia, wake up! There's an injured dog lying in front of our house." I jumped out of bed and rushed downstairs. It was true. In the corner between the house and the garage lay a white Labrador. It was sleeping heavily, but not very comfortably. It had a long 6-centimeter wound on its back that extended to its hind leg. It had bled a lot, and looked like it had been bitten by another dog. It must have dragged itself here, exhausted, and fallen asleep. A wave of warmth surged in my heart, and I felt so sad, thinking, which terrible dog injured this beautiful little dog? Suddenly, the puppy woke up, opened its round eyes, looked at me, and crawled a few steps in my direction. But it was too weak, trembling all over, its paws slipping on the smooth stone path, and it collapsed again. I immediately rushed over and held it in my arms. My mother and I carefully placed it in the car and drove to a veterinary clinic. The doctor stitched up its wound and gave it some shots. It gradually relaxed and fell asleep. The doctor told us it had indeed been bitten, but would heal quickly. He also explained that it was a breed called a Labrador, known for being kind and smart, especially friendly to children. Because of these traits, Labradors are often trained to guide the blind. As the doctor spoke, I gently stroked the little white dog, thinking how soft its fur was and how adorable it truly was. When we brought it home, it was still sweetly sleeping. We carefully settled it on a soft mat in the kitchen. I couldn't take my eyes off it, constantly hoping, I wish it could get better. Actually, I didn't need to worry. The little white dog healed quickly, but then I began to worry about a more serious issue. We still didn't know where the puppy had come from or who its owner was. Could we really keep it at home? My heart suddenly filled with fear, feeling like a deflated balloon, lacking energy. What if my parents didn't want this puppy? After all, we were low on money. Of course, we had to search for the owner, but secretly I hoped we would never find them. My father first placed an ad and called nearby animal shelters, but no one had heard of the white Labrador. The longer the dog stayed with us, the more my parents grew fond of it. Soon, it became a member of our family. During the search for its owner, the puppy fully recovered. One day, while playing together, we both got tired and couldn't run anymore. I sat at the dining table for breakfast while my parents discussed finances. Again, this was the topic I least wanted to hear because, on one hand, I didn't understand what they were talking about, and on the other, whenever they mentioned money, everyone became downcast. When they paused, I shifted the conversation to what I thought was a more important matter. I asked them, "What should we name the puppy?" Suddenly, everyone realized that we hadn't even thought about the dog's name.